Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. This is your very own educator, teacher, preacher, guru, guide, mentor, preacher, one and all. And this is the one-stop destination that is English Gurukul, the UGC of education, or the edifice of education. Alright, and this is the destination for you learners, for you guys out there to come and to be comfortable in, right? So herein we will bloom and blossom and grow together, right? Alright, having said that, let's move ahead. Alright, so we are now gonna have a look at renewable and non-renewable resources, right? So a second way of categorizing natural resources could be based on whether they are renewable or not. Now, what is the second method? Second method being that whether they are renewable or not. So you can categorize it like renewables and non-renewable resources, right? So you can have two categories. You can categorize in two ways, right? So a second way of categorizing natural resources can be based on whether they're renewable or not. A general principle of nature is that it functions in a restorative, very important, in a restorative and regenerative way. So nature is that it functions in restorative and regenerative way. Restoration is the process of returning something to its original healthy state. So what do you mean by restoration? When do we say restoration? So in English we do have the period of restoration age as well, but in your social studies you can just remember it like that, the restoration when something is restored, right? When something is restored again. So it's the process of returning back to the same position or to the same point or to that original state, right? So restoration is the process of returning. Underline whatever I'm highlighting or underlining over here. You also have to underline it in your books, right? So restoration is the process of returning something to its original healthy state if it has been degraded or damaged. So it has to be in healthy state if it has been damaged or degraded by any nature, right? But not by nature, but by any so herein I'm talking about the other meaning of nature, by any means, right? Not nature, right? So it has, you have to, because you remember in the starting, in the first session, what I had discussed, I had spoken about that how there should be harmony that should be established between natural resources and the nature, right, and the human beings. So there should be a harmony between all of these things. There, it should act as a kind of a single ecosystem, right? So yeah. So nature heals, renews, and maintains herself over time, right? So whenever we are saying her, try to notice that it is we are referring to the nature over here, right? So nature heals herself, she renews herself and maintains herself at the same point of time over the same period of time, right? A cut on your skin. Now imagine a cut. There's a cut on your skin. Now just imagine that wound or cut will normally heal. So that a cut, if you have got a cut on your finger or on your hand, it will heal. It will take time, definitely, but it will at the end heal, right? So we get to see that how a cut on your skin will normally heal. A forest recovers after a wildfire. In a similar way, what do we get to see? So there are situations which you need to think You need to project those situations and you need to compare. So here the comparison has been drawn that how a forest, when there's a wildfire, you can imagine what the scenario would be like. Everything is destroyed, everything is, there's this disruption in the process of ecosystem of the environment in the forest. Can you imagine the wildfire, destroying everything, the habitat of animals, it's going to destroy everything. But still, how a forest recovers after that particular wildfire, that is something that we are supposed to learn from, right? In a similar way, we get to see that how human beings also have the similar tendency that if there's a cut on our skin, we know that it is going to heal, and therefore with time it heals. It takes time, but it heals, right? So regeneration goes beyond restoration. So we get to see that how regeneration, because if your nail is that can also be, we can take that as an example. See, so for example, if my nail is not growing properly and it has been cut in a different way, like so that harshness would be there, and that harshness would trouble me, right? So that, but would that trouble me in the long run also? No, it is going to heal, right? So regeneration, it is going to regenerate, right? Nails grow, right? So regeneration goes beyond restoration. We have these two concepts which you need to understand, right? Then it is about nature's ability to create new life and conditions for thriving. So it is about nature's ability. So it actually nurtures. It acts as a nature. It acts as a kind of a shelter. It provides shelter, and not only shelter, it provides the ability, it provides that opportunity to create new life and the conditions for thriving. To seek, to yield, not to seek, not to yield, but to thrive, right? Then we plant trees in areas that may have lost them on account of human interventions like clearing forests. So we plant trees. Where do we plant trees? We plant trees in areas that may have lost them on account of human interventions like clearing forests for housing, planting the types of trees that were originally grown. Growing there restores the ecosystem. The trees provide food and shelter for birds, squirrels, and other creatures, enabling life to return. So we plant trees in areas, of course, where they may have lost them, where there won't be any sort of trees on account of human interventions like clearing forests for housing. For example, if how do you see homes, right? You see houses all over the place. You see villas, you see flat system, you see all the kind of infrastructure that you get to see around. Do you think it was like that? No, it has been done by clearing out the forest and making houses, right? So even now, if I take the example of Delhi, South Delhi, or any part of Delhi, so everyone is migrating and everybody is coming, and through migration and for job opportunities, for better avenues, or I don't know, for infrastructure, or for what reasons, people are getting attracted towards city life, towards the fast-paced or the fast-moving life, right, that Delhi has to offer, or that metropolitan cities have to offer, right? So we do get to see that how those houses are built by clearing out the forests, which is wrong according to me. So planting the types of trees that were originally growing there restores. So when we plant the type of trees that were originally grown there, right, that were originally there, that restores the ecosystem. This restores the ecosystem. The trees provide food and shelter for birds. So now here is the importance of trees. Trees, they provide shelter, and not only shelter, but they provide shelter for birds, definitely, and for sometimes for humans too. They rest. You might not have seen, but there were times, and in especially if I talk about the era before, or the epoch before, since time immemorial, mankind has been taking refuge to when it's very hot, or it's very sunny. They tend to sit under the shade of tree, so they take the shade, right? So the trees provide food and shelter for birds, for squirrels and other creatures, enabling life to return. So this actually enables the life to return. Now this reminds me, because I'm an English educator too. In fact, I'm an English educator. I'm a PGT English. So I'll basically connect this to the laburnum top, which is there in class 11th, which is written by Ted Hughes, right? So you can actually connect this point to the laburnum top, to the laburnum. Oh, I can't write it over here. To the laburnum top, class 11th. Just give me a second. The laburnum top. So you can actually relate it with class 11th. There's this poem, the laburnum top, right? You can have a look, right, if you want to know further, right? So nature works in cycles. So how does nature work? Nature actually works in cycles. So nature works in cycles, right? So nature works in cycles where there is no waste. Where there is no waste. So where there is no waste. Take a forest. Let's say a tree falls in the forest. It decomposes with the bacteria, fungi, and insects feeding on it. The tree becomes part of the soil, enriching it. New trees and plants grow from seeds, and eventually some will fall and the cycle starts again. So what happens over here is that nature, as I have already spoken before, that nature works in cycles where there is no waste. Take a forest. Let's say a tree falls in the forest. Let's say this is a tree, and this tree falls in the forest, right? This is the forest. Just assume that, right? So the tree becomes part of the soil, enriching it. So the tree would become a part of the soil, which would be enriching it, right? And it decomposes with the bacteria, fungi, and insects feeding on it. And it will decompose with the bacteria, fungi, and insects feeding on it. The tree becomes part of the soil herein, right? Enriching it. New trees and plants grow from seeds. Eventually some will fall and the cycle starts, and the cycle will start again. So it will go on and 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 on, right? So these are examples of nature's principle of, so these are examples of nature's principle. There's this principle. Have a look at the word principle. It's not P-A-L, it's P-L-E. So whenever we are talking about principles of in science, or principles in social science, or principles in maths, you have to write P-L-E. And when you are referring to, because I'm an English teacher, so I have to tell you, whenever we are writing a letter, so therein you will write the principle P-A-L, right? Of restoration and regeneration in practice, right? Then we move on to renewable resources. Renewable resources exhibit these characteristics over time. Most of India has abundant sunshine. Would you agree with this statement? Yes or no? Tell me quickly in the chat box. I want yes or no. Is India an abundant country filled with sunshine? Do you see sun? Yes? Good. So in the natural course, rivers are, so we are talking with the natural course, rivers are fed regularly by rain. So this is the rain. Suppose this is the rain, right? These are the clouds. So fed regularly by rain and melting glaciers. And suppose these are the glaciers. These are melting now, right? Forests renew themselves. So forests renew themselves. Soil replenishes itself through natural processes, and so on. Solar energy, wind energy, energy from flowing water, timber from forests are renewable resources as long as we are able to manage them in sustainable manner. Very, very important. However, for them to maintain renewable, there is a condition, the natural rhythm of restoration. This is the natural rhythm of restoration and regeneration must not be disturbed, right? If we harvest timber, so you have to remember all these. Solar energy, wind energy, energy from flowing water, timber from forests, right? Are renewable resources as long as we are able to manage them in a sustainable manner. Then, if we harvest timber faster than the forest can grow trees, we will eventually deplete the forest. So this will actually lead to depletion, that means degradation, right? Scientists have shown that through irresponsible human actions. Now we are talking about the irresponsible human actions. Many of nature's cycles have been disturbed. So many of nature's cycles have been disturbed. A combination of several factors interacting, such as fossil fuel driven industrialization and the cutting down of forests for agriculture and other purposes, are two of them. So these are the two major reasons, right? So what are those? A combination of several factors interacting. For example, let's say this is the fossil fuel driven industrialization, and these are the industrial factories that we get to see, right? And the cutting down of forests and the cutting down of forests for agriculture and other purposes are two of them, right? Then has led to rising temperatures. So this has actually led to rise in temperatures that we are experiencing on account of this. The glaciers in some places in the Himalayas are melting at a rate faster than the precipitation can at a rate faster than precipitation can replace them, right? So we have the concept of condensation, we have the concept of precipitation, right? So you should be familiar with these two concepts. Okay? You should remember this as well. Do not ignore these. So RCAM, offering generally of water as a mark of respect or gratitude. The words that are given on your left hand side, you are supposed to make sure that you are learning them, right? Not only learning but understanding them, right? So this has implications on water security for the populations living in the plains dependent on the water tower. So this has implications on water security for the populations living in the plains depending on the water tower. Don't miss out. Traditionally, communities had a system of regulating or refraining from fishing during the spawning season to enable the maintenance of fish population. However, the commercialization of fishing resulted in overfishing. In case of a type of a fish called tuna, for example, the rapid and extensive decline in their population, so there was this decline, right, led to some agreements on control of fishing. Nevertheless, this important type of fish that keeps the ocean, so we have ecosystem, so we have different ecosystems. For example, we have ecosystem for environment. Similarly, we have ecosystem for oceans as well, right? So there has to be a balance in ocean ecosystem also. We have to make sure that it continues in a circle and there's a harmony and it keeps on going and going and going and going, right? So ocean ecosystem in balance by consuming small, so nevertheless this important type of fish that keeps the ocean ecosystem, so tuna keeps the ocean ecosystem in balance by consuming smaller fish, shrimps, etc. that is on decline, etc. that is on decline. Do you know of other traditional practices that help the ecosystem to stay in balance? We need industries to produce, the goods we consume. So obviously we need industries as well. We cannot completely decline, right? But according to me, we can, but yeah, according to people, we cannot decline industries altogether. We do need industries as well in order to produce the goods we consume. So whatever we are consuming now as consumers, because we are the consumers, right? We are the ones who are consuming. So a person who consumes is said to be a consumer, and a person who produces is said to be a producer. But herein we are not talking about people who are directly producing, but we are talking about the machines, we are talking about the factories, we are talking about the industries, right? So we need industries to produce the goods we consume. The process also creates waste. So it creates waste that are frequently discharged into rivers. So the process creates waste that are frequently discharged into rivers, which is wrong, absolutely wrong, because this causes pollution. This can also lead to various diseases, right? So, and other water bodies, and it also affects other water bodies as well. Often these wastes cannot decay to become the food of some life form, and these wastes cannot become food for any life form for that matter. And you know, in India especially, if I talk about it, this is my own personal opinion, rivers and lakes and ponds and water in general is supposed to be very, very sacred. It's supposed to be very, very pious. So you know, in such a country, if factories are polluting the rivers, if factories are polluting the lakes or the normal streams, the normal water bodies, then obviously there is going to be disturbance, there is going to be a major problem in the ocean, in the ecosystem, in the what should I say, in the water cycle. Yeah, because we do have the process of precipitation, we do have the process of condensation, right? And we have a water cycle. So from so all the elements are connected. So clouds are there, right? And there's you all have studied water cycle, hydrological cycle, for that matter, so you can relate it, right? So obviously, how can we not be affected by it? Just think about it. Now instead it leads to a disturbance in nature's cycle of restoration and regeneration. Again, these are the two keywords that you need to remember, of restoration and regeneration, leading to a situation where the river becomes poisonous and cannot support life. Now, can you imagine a country that was so rich in its minerals? You can imagine the water containing so many minerals and so many precious, in terms, not only in terms of money. Obviously it was precious in terms of money as well, but it was precious in terms of its qualities as well, right? And now can you just see the difference? It is so poisonous and cannot support life. Now, are we, this is my personal viewpoint, now are we wishing or are we willing to see or live in this kind of an environment, or would we be happy in living in a utopian kind of an environment, which can be created, according to me, which can be created? Now, because one man can make a difference, or one girl or one woman can make a difference, right? That's what I believe in, because I, being an educator, I being a teacher, I can definitely vouch on that. Now, identify human actions in your surroundings that result in nature losing her ability to restore and regenerate. What types of interventions can be undertaken to restore nature's cycle? This you have to do. This is your homework. Don't miss out. Ecosystem functions and ecosystem services. Nature has some inherent ways of working. For example, trees naturally produce oxygen, O2. You know, you must have studied in science. Oxygen is referred to as O2, right? When these natural processes benefit humans, we call them ecosystem services. So when these natural processes benefit humans, we call them ecosystem services. We can think of it like a forest naturally filters water, prevents soil erosion, and provides habitat for animals. These, now you see what the nature is doing for us. This is from my viewpoint, from my perspective, right? Now, can you see what the nature is doing for us and what we are doing for the nature? Just see the difference and just imagine. Now, when these natural processes benefit humans, we call them ecosystem services. We can think of it like a forest naturally filters water and even sunlight, for that matter. Guys, remember that. That's also there, and therefore spectrum like, rainbow like spectrum gets created, right? That is science behind it. I'm just telling you aage ka, theek hai? So we can think of it like this: a forest naturally filters water, prevents soil erosion, and provides habitat for animals. It also prevents soil erosion and provides habitat for animals. Now, how many things are how many things is it opting for, or is it doing? So many things. What are we doing? Tell me. One thing that we are doing for nature. Nothing at all. We're just draining it. That's all. These are ecosystem functions when we benefit from clean water, protected farmland, and pollinated crops. Because of that forest, we are receiving ecosystem services from nature. Now, these are ecosystem functions when we benefit from clean water, protected farmland, and pollinated crops. Because of the forest, we are receiving ecosystem services from nature. A mature tree produces about 275 liters of oxygen per day. This varies a little depending on the type of a tree. So there are different types of trees which have different types of work. There are different types of plants which are, some might be poisonous, but that poison is only in order to protect themselves. Clear? Some might have, you might get allergy. You might be allergic to some plant or to some leaves, but that is a kind of a protection that they have. Likewise, similarly, we also have our protection defense systems, armies, navy, right, air force. Don't we have? Similarly, in the same fashion, they also have. Everybody has the right to protect themselves, right? But they are doing so much of, they have that kind of capacity to do so much for us. They're only giving. They're not taking anything from us. A human being needs about 350 liters of oxygen every day. So they are providing 275 liters, and it can vary. So just do that research that which tree is providing बहुत सारा एटमॉस्फेयर कह रही हूँ, बहुत सारा ऑक्सीजन, ठीक है, उसका रिसर्च करके आना, ठीक है. This can change based. A human being needs about 350 liters of oxygen every day. This can change based on the type of activity that an individual engages in, their height and weight, and so on, right? Then let's explore. Take a small research study to assess the types of renewable resources in your region. Take a case study and comment in the comment section below. Put it in the description box and do let me know. Right? You may discuss with your teacher the geographical area of your study and resources to assess information that you may need. What has been the change in the status of over time? Make a small report that identifies the reasons for the change of what may be done. And then we come on to non-renewable resources. Now, non-renewable resources are created over long periods. They are created over long periods. All right, they cannot be replenished at the rate we use them, and they cannot be replenished at the rate we use them. So we are using it like this, and they are being made like this. See. This is the rate at which they are being made. Can you see? And this is the rate at which they are being used. Can you see the difference? For example, fossil fuels, coal and petroleum, and minerals, metals like iron, copper, and gold are non-renewable resources. India has significant quantities of coal reserves. We mine coal to meet our growing need for energy, but it has been estimated that the coal reserves in India may last another 50 years. The demand for electricity has been increasing. as the population expands, and we know that India is the second largest. India is the country which has the second large. India is the second largest country which has the second largest population, obviously after China. So this is China. I'll write down if I can China, right? So yeah, the demand for electricity has been increasing as the population expands and the development work accelerates. Till more sustainable options become available widely, we need to use the coal we have judiciously. So we have to make sure that we are making, not only making use of coal in a judicious manner, but of each and every natural resource that has been gifted to us, that has been, because we have not inherited this earth, we have merely borrowed it from our children, from our younger generation, from our children. So that has been that has to be taken into account, right? That we are not the ones who have created this planet Earth, and we will be responsible, and we should be responsible right now towards our duties, right? Then let's explore what are the non-renewable resources that you use daily. What are non-renewable resources that you use daily, directly or indirectly, right? Which I had mentioned in my first session. What are those possible renewable substitutes? What are some steps of the what are some of the steps we can take to transition to renewables? All right, so distribution of natural resources and its implications. Natural resources are not evenly distributed. So natural resources are not, suppose these are the natural resources. So these will not be distributed evenly, right? So natural resources are not evenly distributed across our planet. So suppose this is Earth, and on Earth, suppose herein there's a lot of variety of there is a lot of variety of trees and mountains. Suppose here there are a lot of oceans. Suppose here, I'm just giving you an example, it's not like this, but yeah, somewhat similar to this. So this uneven distribution shapes human settlements, trade patterns. So people would prefer to be settled earlier. Have people for this you have to study history as well. See, your social studies for now is social studies, but when you grow up, it would be bifurcated into history, polity, and geography, right? And economics would be added when you grow, when you reach at a higher level, at a higher stage, right? So natural resources are not evenly distributed across our planet or within our country or within countries. For example, in India, there might be, for example, in India, we have a lot of gold mines, for example, let's assume, right? And in America, we don't find any of such gold mines. In Dubai, we do not find. Let's just assume. I'm just assuming that, right? Assume करने में तो कुछ नहीं जाता है ना, assume कर लो, ठीक है? So this uneven distribution shapes human settlements. So क्या होगा? जहाँ पे water bodies ज़्यादा होंगी, wherever there would be water bodies, wherever there would be ponds or rivers or oceans, people would like to settle over there. You know why? Because they are actually close to, they're living near to a natural resource which would be beneficial, which would be actually very, very beneficial for them. Why? Because they can wash their clothes, they can drink water, they can do all sorts of, they can cook, and definitely they would like to stay near those areas. Then nowadays what people are doing is they're going and living in the mountains or near green areas. Why? Because now people have started understanding the importance of serenity. People have started to understand the importance of peace. People have started to understand the importance of going out from the bustling hustle and bustle or bustling atmosphere of the cities, right? So they would definitely try their best to locate themselves over there. So trade patterns, where there are trade patterns, where there's trade happening, where there's where there are opportunities for them to make money, right? That's why they are coming to Delhi. International relations, right? So for networking, for international relationships, for conflicts too. This uneven distribution shapes human settlements, trade patterns, international religions, conflicts too. Many wars have been fought and continue to be fought to gain control over natural resources. So many wars have been taking place since time immemorial, right? So suppose this is the country and this is the resource, and this is also the country and this is the resource, right? Now both of them want this resource, particular resource. For example, let's take it XYZ, right? So these two countries are fighting to get this particular resource. Now for this they are going in for war, right? So why? Because it's a natural resource. It's a natural resource, right? Now herein we get to see the map. So industries located near natural resources create employment, as I've mentioned, employment opportunities for the local people. Townships grow around them, expand economic opportunities for others too. More modern facilities that improve the quality of life become accessible. However, these benefits are often accompanied by costs in the short term as well as in the long term. We have examples from across the world of people living in a in resource-rich areas who have been displaced from their homes to facilitate. So we have examples from across the world of people living in resource-rich, wherein there are plenty of resources, right? That's why they're resource-rich areas who have been displaced from their homes to facilitate such developments. कई बार ना क्या ही हो जाता है पता ही नहीं. Homes to facilitate such developments. In some cases, their sacred places are under threat. So in some cases, what happens is that their sacred places are under threat, leading to, which actually again leads to conflict, right? So national and international trade depend on the geographical location of natural resources. So both national as well as international trade depend on the geographical location of natural resources. So where in the map, for example, here natural resources are. So depend on the geographical location of natural resources, and here we do not have any natural resources. So no natural resources, no natural resources. Here natural resources, here natural resources are there, right? Combined with human knowledge and skills, these can create unique products like wood steel, as we know. Trade fueled the development of large empires in India. So we are very well we are familiar with, and we very well know that trade fueled the development of large empires of India. Now we can see the map as well. So these two maps are there. देखो टीचर को कितना मेहनत करना पड़ता है तुम्हारी वजह से, तुम बच्चों को अच्छे से पढ़ना चाहिए ना. So we have Kalol over here. Then we have Ankleshwar. Then we have Basin, Mumbai High, Ratnagiri, Goa. Then over here Chikmagaluru, Kudremukh, Neyveli, Tumkur, Chitradurga, Ballari, Singharini, Belidilla, Koraput, Talchar, Kyonjhar, Mayurbhanj, रानीगंज, झारिया, बोकारो, ये बहुत फेमस है. ठीक है. काटनी, अमारकांटक, बिलासपुर, चंद्रापुर, दुर्ग. ठीक है. फिर यहाँ पे जांजी, दिग्बोई, माकुम, मोरम और नहारकाटिया. और ये है, ये देख लेना. ठीक है. मुझसे ज़्यादा प्रोनाउंसिएशन इसकी हो नहीं रही है, लेकिन तुम लोग देख लेना, हिंदी में लिखा है, थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है. ठीक है. Here we have Ganga. So Ganga is flowing, as you can see. Ganga. Here we have, I'll just zoom it. Yeah. Here we have Brahmaputra flowing. So Brahmaputra. Here we have Snap. These are the shared waters of the Brahmaputra river, and this is the distribution of important minerals. So see, ये बहुत important होता है. This is actually very important, which you are supposed to actually know. ठीक है, मैं बता देती हूँ एक बार. I'll just give you a glimpse. ठीक है. यहाँ पे ये होता है स्केल, इसको कहते हैं स्केल. ये जो होता है, ये अभी तुम्हारे को जरूरत नहीं है समझने की, because you guys are very very small, right? I mean, you guys are my learners, but obviously if you want to know, you can I'll make a separate video for that. But ये अलग पैरामीटर होता है, ये इसको स्केल कहा जाता है. ठीक है. And herein we have the different icons so that you can actually understand. ठीक है. जो भी ब्लैक से बना होगा ना बच्चों, उसका कोल, ये you can understand. जो ये ट्रायंगुलर है, वो ब्लैक और सर्कल है, वो कोल है, कोल को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है. So this symbol actually symbolizes coal. So that means where is coal found? In Jharia, in Bokaro, in Raniganj, in Talchar, in Korba, and in Belladilla, and in Neyveli. And so here coal is found. Then we come on to oil. So Basin, Mumbai, Kalol, right here, and oil is found. Then we have iron ore in pink square box, right? So majorly iron ore is found, right, in so many parts. Then we have bauxite, which is found again in Koraput. Then Korba, right? Again in, not Korba, Koraput. Then then over here Korba. Then Amarkantak, right? And so you can see these are basically representations which have these are basically symbols, you can say symbols for representation. Clear? All right, so herein these are the shared waters of Brahmaputra. Alright, so with this, I would like to come to the end of the session. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Do share, like, and subscribe to my channel. And hit the notification bell icon so that whenever I upload any sort of video, you guys, you my learners, get notified. And till then, keep learning. Let's all keep learning. Let's all keep growing. Let's all keep blooming. And let's all keep blossoming. And if you have any queries, any problem or any doubt, you can reach out to us. That is English Gurukul, the Odyssey of Education, or the edifice of education. You can contact us on the given number, right? So you can contact us on the given number, and we will definitely you can actually drop a message. Do not call us, please, guys, because then it becomes very, very hectic for us as well. So drop a WhatsApp message, and definitely we will get in touch with you, right? Thank you. Till then, let's all keep learning. Till then, let's all keep growing. Happy learning.